In the fall of 2017, I received a phone call from a family that I had never met before. And they called and said, Devin, we've heard about your ministry and that you all want to open the first safe home in our state for kids that are survivors of trafficking. So we want to help you buy your land and build your house. And I was blown away. So the next morning, this family met with Chad, our board chair, and I, and they confirmed that yes, they wanted to give us a significant donation to make this home a reality, which is incredible. But when we left that meeting with them, I looked at my board chair and I said, Chad, this is incredible, but I can't do this by myself anymore, because until that time, Street Hope only had one staff member, and that was me. And this mission and vision that God was taking us on was way bigger than one person. And so we prayed together that day, because while we needed to add a staff member, we couldn't afford it. And so, again, we prayed together, and the next morning, I was in my office, and I received a phone call from a woman I had never met before in my entire life. And she said, Devin, my family and I, we've heard about Street Hope in this ministry, and God's laid it on our heart, and we want to give you an end-of-the-year gift. And they gave us a whole salary in one check. It was incredible. So fast forward a few months, and we had been praying, God, please send us exactly who we need and the exact person that we need to come alongside us and to help us make this home a reality. So God brought us Amy, and she started as our strategic development specialist. And what you need to understand about Street Hope and about why there's no homes in our state, it's not because people don't think it's important. It's because it's never been done before. So the two of us together went on this crazy journey to seek the Lord and say, God, you have to go before us, because anything we do in our own, it's in vain. It's for your glory that we're on this journey. And so please let your presence go before us. So one of the first things we had to do after Amy started was decide whether or not we were going to build or renovate. So we had a meeting out in Alcoa with Ferry Construction, and they kind of laid out all of our options for us. And what we realized was that if we wanted a home that was able to house 10 girls with 10 individual bedrooms, to meet all the specific needs we had, it was most likely going to be much better for us to build rather than renovate. And that was really discouraging for us, because we honestly came to that meeting with a house out in Knoxville that we had seen and that we really thought we were going to be able to flip and use. And we realized really quickly that that home was not going to work. So after that meeting, Amy and I were pretty discouraged, to be honest. And so we were literally just driving around. And the Lord reminded Amy of a family friend who had 40 acres of land. Beautiful land, literally in the middle of nowhere. And Amy said, Devin, this is going to sound crazy, but I have a friend who has a whole bunch of land. Would you want to go look at it? And I remember looking at her going, is it for sale? And she said, nope. And I was like, well, what else are we going to do with this day? So we decided to drive out that way. And when we got to her home, she was there. And there was a lot happening, like there were dogs barking and all kinds of stuff happening. And we got out of our car, and Amy's friend looked at us and said, what are you all doing all the way out here? Like, this is so far away from your office. And we said, well, we're just driving around kind of looking at land. And she couldn't believe that we would be looking at land that far from where our Street Hope offices were. And Amy and I were just kind of looking at her like, what is happening? And she said, I've been praying and asking the Lord. God's given me a passion for Street Hope and what you all are doing. And I've been praying and asking the Lord if I was supposed to give you all my land for this home, because these are his fields. They're not mine. They don't belong to me. They're his. But I didn't want to offer these fields if that's not what he wanted. So I asked him to make it very clear to me. And you all are here at my house. Do you want my land? And at that moment, me and Amy looked at each other like, what? Because literally 45 minutes before this had happened, The fairies had just told us that basically we were going to have to start from scratch, and we had no idea where we would find land, no idea where we would do this at, and here we are. And the next day, I remember Amy called her friend and said, hey, I need to be honest with you. Like, God reminded me that you had this property. And so I thought we would just drive by. I didn't really know what would come of it. And I just wanted to make sure that I was very transparent with you about that. And she said, please, no, don't worry. Like, these are God's fields and I want you to have them. They're yours. We are building a home called Garland Oaks. In Isaiah 61, 1-3, God says, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the afflicted, to bind up the brokenhearted and proclaim liberty to the captives and freedom to the prisoners, to proclaim the favorable year of our God, the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort those who mourn and grant those who mourn in Zion, giving them a garland of beauty instead of ashes, joy instead of mourning, a mantle of praise instead of a spirit of fainting. So they will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. This home is called Garland Oaks because here we believe that God doesn't put band-aids on brokenness. He makes beauty out of ashes. And our desire for the girls that come through our home is that they see a garland of beauty made from their ashes and they become firmly planted oaks of righteousness in him.